Welcome to Newsroom Weekly Review, your Middle East U.S. entertainment news. I'm Chella, touching base weekly regarding reforms in economics. But first, the Americans in Iraq are now living in fear due to the recent decisions of Joe Biden. Today was horrific after watching the attacks of Kabul. The attacks against service members, our military, and Afghan civilians, and our allies, as we watch in prayer, hoping that something is done very, very quickly. Getting back to economics and reforms, Mwanzi News reported Friday the leader of the Saturist movement, Al Satters, announced that he would back down from the decision to boycott the upcoming parliamentary elections. Al Satters said in the press conference, which was followed by Mwanzi News, they received a copy, a reform paper from the political forces, which invites him to participate in the upcoming elections. Al Satters added the paper came in accordance with the aspirations and the interests required that we run in the elections. He noted, we will run the elections with determination and determination. Saying, I find myself in need of you, and thank you, brother Al-Kazimi. Al Satters directed his support by saying, I find myself in need of your standing with me through your $1 million stand-in demonstration square and the parliamentary dome at another time. And then, according to Shafak News, the member of Satarist movement received also on Friday that the Prime Minister Mustafa Al-Kazimi had adopted the reform paper that the leader of the Satarist movement, Al Satters, had talked about. Al Azra Jawi told Shafak News Agency that the reform paper that Al Satters talked about was adopted by Prime Minister Mustafa Al-Kazimi and was signed by the head of Shiites, Sunni and Kurdish political bloc. The parliamentary also indicated that the signed document served as a covenant between the political blocs and would be published in the media soon, adding that the signed document would be presented for discussion in the House of Representatives in the coming days. They also indicated that there will be a new vision during the upcoming elections. On Friday, the leader of the Satarist movement, Al Satters, announced that he would run for the legislative elections to be held on the 10th day of October, revising his previous position in which he decided to boycott them. Al Satters had decided in mid-July to boycott the parliamentary elections. Al Satters had also added returning to electoral projects has become an acceptable matter, and we will contest the elections with determinations to save Iraq from corruption, occupation, dependency, and normalization, adding that the interest necessitated that we run in the million elections. Baghdad People's Naz reports the preparatory committee for Baghdad conference announced on Thursday the countries of international organizations whose participation in the conference was confirmed, while specifying a reason not announcing the names of participating leaders so far. The head of the committee, spokesman for Baghdad conference, Nasser al-Kerala, said during a dialogue table with a number of media organizations followed by Naz, August 26, the participating countries are Turkey, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Kuwait, Jordan, Qatar, UAE, and France, in addition to the Arab League, the Gulf Corporations Council, and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. He added, the names of the participating delegations and personalities have not been announced so far. The matter is due to the two reasons. The first is technical circumstances, and the second is the request of countries not to announce their participation before the Baghdad conference. He pointed out that the participating countries sent large delegations to conferences, and one country participated with 80 personalities, another participated with at least 50, and another at the same time. The matter is not limited to participation of media delegations from those countries and the extent of possibilities of holding bilateral meetings between the participating countries, especially those who have bilateral differences between Al-Khar, God, the preparatory committee mission in to provide the appropriate atmosphere for bilateral meetings, and in a regional conference there is an opportunity for dialogue, and this depends on countries' desire to hold such meetings. We believe that the conference is an opportunity to hold these meetings. The meetings of Iraq will prepare the means available to hold them if those countries wish. Regarding Iraq's direct goal in holding the conferences, he explained, We are working to strengthen partnerships and projects with the countries participating in Baghdad conferences. The nature of the crisis and challenges in the regions creates real opportunities for partnerships, as this is what we are working on, and we believe that this desire is shared by Iraq and participating countries. He stressed that the Baghdad conference will be held for one day only next Saturday, and the participation of invited countries in the conference represented support for Iraq's government and the sovereignty and stability of Iraq. And last but not least, and these numbers have significantly changed, but I'm reporting from, according to Reuters, that Shafak News reported that at least 4 military personnel, and those numbers have increased, were killed from 2 explosions that occurred at the airport of Afghan capital Kabul. In a separate statement, John Kirby, a spokesman for the United States Department of Defense, Pentagon, said that a number of American soldiers were killed in an attack without specifying any number. He added in a statement that others were wounded and a number of Afghans were killed and wounded as well. The U.S. Department of Defense Pentagon said Thursday that at least 2 explosions occurred near the airport of Afghan capital Kabul during massive and chaotic evacuations, which resulted in the deaths and injuries, including American soldiers and civilians, in what was described as a complex attack. Since then, we are also had another attack this morning, and the Taliban officials said that the suspects' suicide bombings occurred outside of Kabul airport on Thursday, killing at least 13. Those numbers have increased, including children, and wounded many Taliban guards. A source familiar with the statement in the U.S. Congress on the situation in Afghanistan said Thursday that U.S. officials have a strong belief that the ISIS Khorasan Province, which is against both the United States and the Taliban movement, is responsible for carrying out those attacks at the Kabul airport. A surgical hospital ran by an Italian charity said that they have received about 60 patients. Those numbers have increased. Were undergoing treatment. The attack came after the United States and its allies warned of the threats from the Islamic State group and urged Afghans and their citizens to leave the area. A White House official said President Joe Biden was briefed on the blast. An informed source said that Biden was in a meeting with security officials to discuss the situation on Afghanistan when the first news of explosions arrived. Washington is in the process of the final steps to end the 20-year military presence in Afghanistan. The United States is racing against time to complete airlifts of Americans and some Afghans from Kabul before the deadline for its full military withdrawal by August 31st. In a meeting issued on Wednesday by the U.S. Embassy in Kabul, the United States advised its citizens to avoid going to the Kabul airport and has said those standing at the gates should leave immediately due to unspecified security risk. And my condolences are going out to everyone involved. It's been a devastation to watch what's going on right now in Kabul, especially for our military and for the Americans that are struggling to get out of there. I'm going to end that on this note for this week's Newsroom Weekly Review, your Middle East entertainment news. I'm here every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific for a weekly review. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video if you like my content. It's been a pleasure being here this week. I'm Chella. Thank you again for watching and take care.
Make sure you join us Fridays, 4 p.m. with Newsroom Updates with Chella Smith, Entertainment News. And don't forget us on Sundays for What's Cooking in the Kitchen. You can also find us behind the scenes 24/7 on Snapchat.